Welcome back, students of class 5. This is the second part of your social science chapter 1. In the previous class, we did the first part, and now I'm going to continue with the second part of the lesson. Alright, so in the last class, I have explained to you about the heavenly bodies, also the solar system. I have explained to you about the sun, the moon, the galaxies, and the planets. So let me give you a quick revision on the previous class. I have explained to you that the sun is the only heavenly body that gives out light to all the other heavenly bodies. We also have a star that gives out light of its own, but since it's very far, we can only see them, or else they can't give out light as the sun. And then we have moon, which we see at night, but it is only the reflection of the sunlight. Okay, and then we have galaxy. Galaxies are the cluster of stars, those millions and billions of stars which are combined together, and we see them as galaxies. And here we have the Milky Way. It is one of the galaxy. Okay, then there are 8 planets which revolve around the sun. They are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus. I also told you that Jupiter is the biggest planet and Mercury is the smallest planet. So you can see here that Mercury, which is the smallest planet, is also very close to the sun, right? So it is one of the hottest planet. Okay, now from the second part, I'm going to explain to you about the globe and its features. Now, what is a globe? A globe is the model of the earth. Now, when we see the earth in a picture, in a simple piece of paper, it becomes very difficult to see the entire earth, right? Because the earth is spherical in shape, and it have countries at the back, towards the right, left, towards the top, and towards the bottom, right? So in a piece of paper, it becomes very difficult to find out the countries, the oceans, right? So from a globe, we can see the entire places, we can locate the places. See, here we have a globe, and then you can even turn the globe. Okay, you can even rotate the globe and see the countries that are at the back as well as the countries that are in towards the right and left. Okay, so the globe is a model of the earth. These are mostly used by the teachers when they are explaining about the earth. Also, there is a stand where we can keep the globe on certain table and we can show to the students about this earth. Okay, now in the earth, let me take you back once more. I told you in the last class that our earth is also known as the blue planet, right? And it is because of the presence of water. So majority, most of the part on earth is water, that is 71%, and the remaining part is the land, the mountains, valleys, plateaus. Okay, so here we have oceans and continents on earth. All right, so the blue part are the oceans, and the other green, blue, green and brown part, they are the continents. Okay, so altogether we have 5 oceans and we have 7 continents. Now ocean, the first thing, so we have 5 oceans. The name of these oceans are Pacific Ocean, Indian Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Antarctic Ocean, and Arctic Ocean. So of all these oceans, the Arctic Ocean, the 5th one, is the smallest ocean, and number 1, Pacific Ocean, is the biggest ocean. Okay, so these oceans, the water that we are drinking now, those are not the ocean water. Okay, We drink the tap water, which comes from rivers, streams, and lakes. So this ocean water is considered as very salty, and you cannot just drink it up, all right? So the filtered water that we get at home comes from the lakes and rivers, not from the ocean. But you should know that all the water sources on earth are connected, okay? Even the water from the ocean, they join the streams, they join the rivers and the lakes, and then all this water are connected. That is why when an ocean gets polluted, if we throw all the wastages on the ocean, or if any part of the ocean gets dirty, then the entire world suffer, because these waters are connected. They come to your nearest pond and streams, and if you drink it, it causes diseases. All right. Now next, continents. So we have 7 continents, starting with Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica, Europe, and Australia. So according to the number, you can see that the biggest continent is Asia and the smallest continent is Australia. Okay. Now, talking about continents, continents means all those mountains, valleys, plateaus, and plains. Now let me show you in picture. The first one, okay, this is the mountain area, right? Then next, this is valleys. Valleys are where the two mountains meet together and they form a V, so it is the valley. This is plateau, where there are plain areas and some land are like the tables, okay? So these are plateaus and this is plain area, okay? So all these together, they form continent. Now the largest and the smallest continent, here in this picture you can see, you can make out by yourself which of these continents are smaller and which of these continents are bigger. See this one, the orange, which is Asia, right? So Asia is the biggest continent, and here you see Australia. Australia is the smallest continent. So first one is Asia, the second one is Africa, so on, okay? So the largest continent is Asia and the smallest continent is Australia. Now let's discuss about these continents one after the other, giving some examples of the countries, okay? So I told you that the biggest continent is Asia, and some of the countries in Asia are India, China, Kazakhstan, and Japan, right? So these are the countries. We have many countries. I'm just giving you 3 or 4 examples, okay? The second one, the second largest continent is Africa. We have countries like Congo, Sudan, Nigeria, and Algeria. Third, North America. The countries there are Canada, United States, Mexico. Number 4, in South America, we have countries like Brazil, Chile, Argentina. Number 5 is Antarctica. Antarctica, there are no such countries. Let me also explain to you with image on the other part, okay? So as of now, there are no countries in Antarctica. It is a very cold area. Most of the water sources, like the rivers, the lakes, and the streams, they are in the form of ice and snow, okay? So human beings find it very difficult to stay in such cold areas. So right now there are no countries, so we just name it as Antarctica. Number 6, sixth is Europe. We have countries like Germany, France, and Spain. Number 7, Australia. Australia is also known as an island continent. Islands are those places where it is surrounded by water, okay? Of course, in other continents also there are oceans, but comparing to all these continents, we see that Australia is a continent which is surrounded by Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean. All the majority of the oceans are surrounding this continent. So Australia is known as the island continent, and the countries are divided into Queensland, then Northern Australia and Southern Australia, so on. So with that, we have come to the end of continents. Now let's come back to the globe again, okay? Now here is the globe, and we are still in the structure of the globe, right? So I'll tell you, with the help of globe, I'm going to explain to you the parts of the earth, all right? So there are different parts of the earth, and we have North Pole and South Pole, okay? See, at the top, this is the North Pole. At the bottom is the South Pole. The continent Antarctica, if you remember, I told you that this is a very cold continent, and it is located in this South Pole. Now what happens? The earth is revolving around the sun, right? And the sun is there in the middle. The sun is giving out light, but most of the light is received by the middle part of the earth, and the North Pole and the South Pole do not receive enough sunlight. That is why the people who are staying in North Pole and South Pole, the weather conditions are very cold for them, and places like Antarctica, very less people lives there, okay? So North Pole, South Pole, they are very far from the sun, also the very cold areas of the earth. Now, can you see the green line in the middle? So it shows that the earth is divided into two parts, all right? The top part is the northern hemisphere, and the down part below the green line is the southern hemisphere. So we have two parts, up and down. The upper is the northern hemisphere, the down is the southern hemisphere. Now the line in the middle is the equator, okay? So equator used to divide the earth into two parts, all right? Because of the equator, we can differentiate between the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Now it is said that the countries which are towards the equator, they are very hot. I've told you that the sun gives out light to the earth, and the earth receives the sunlight from the sun, but this middle part, okay, the middle part receives majority of the sun, and that is why even the countries towards the equator is very hot as compared to the North Pole and the South Pole. And also we have two parts, northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere, okay? All right, so class, let me take you back once again to the continents. Number 7 is Australia, 6th is Europe, 5th is Antarctica, 4th is South America, 3rd is North America, the second one is Africa, and the largest continent is Asia. So why I wanted to take you back to Asia is because we are also in Asian continent, okay? Can you see here the pink color? This is India map. So we are living in India, and India is a part of Asian continent. It is also said that the Asian countries are very populated, okay? Populated means many people are there, all right? The population is very high, okay? So the first one is Asia. According to population, the second one is again Africa, so on, okay? So depending on the number, even the population is less, okay? Like Asia is number 1, so even the population is very high in Asian countries. So when we talk about the countries again, in Asia we have China, India, right? Many other countries, of course, but some of the most populated countries of Asian continent are China, India, all right? And so this is the globe. I've also shown you this image in the first part of the lesson, and we have different parts in the globe. All right, now we have come to the revision. Revision is very important because it helps us to learn or revise once more whatever we have learned. Okay, number one, the smallest ocean in the world is, we have two options, Pacific and Arctic. So the answer is Arctic, because Pacific is the largest ocean, not the smallest one. All right. Number two, the two continents which form Eurasia. So there are two continents, they are very close to one another. One is Europe and one is Asia. So they are very close, they form a certain area called Eurasia. Okay, so those area which are very close to Europe and Asia, this area is known as Eurasia. Number three, the shape of the earth is it round, is it oval or sphere? The answer is sphere. I've also told you in the previous class that if you want to know the exact shape of the earth, then you can look at the fruit orange. It is exactly shaped like an earth, where the sides are bigger than the any other sides. Okay, then number four, solar system includes. So in the solar system, we have sun, moon, stars, the planets, the galaxies. Okay, all this comes under solar system. Number five, which is the island continent? The options are Antarctica, Australia, and Asia. I've explained to you that Australia is also known as the island continent. Okay, islands are those areas which are in the middle of oceans or seas. Okay, so because Australia is in the middle of all the other oceans, so it is also known as the island continent. Okay, well, students, we have come to the end of this part 2. In the next class, I'm going to explain to you about the longitude and the latitude. If you watch that, you will be able to learn the difference between different continents and countries, because every country have different time zone, all right, which I will explain from longitude and latitude. Thank you very much. See you again.